we're early, I mean, we're on,
We
at
are
least
early.
on time.
Very
Hey, mine's right there.
Okay, I'm gonna lock up the door then, because Dan wants them.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
Bye, see you Monday.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
See you, Chris.
Okay. I already contacted, the school bike run, Somerset Country Club.
I think you're on mute, Dan.
Card, it's posted on Indeed. We're going all avenues, but.
Did we put it in the weekly thing?
I said, yes, it's in the weekly update.
We've had
Yeah.
some success with that in the past. Homeowners, sons and daughters have participated as lifeguards.
Can you hear us, Dan?
Yes, I can. How about you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
and John Dickinson will be coming on.
Okay.
I really wait for him.
So I did contact the insurance company about swimming to own risk, which
Yeah.
I know is not what anybody wants to do. But the underwriter did get back to me and he said, that is okay,
The swimmage room there.
as long as it's posted. And he said, the number of lifeguards doesn't affect the insurance policy, so.
All right, let's talk it through though. Let's say we have a problem, something does happen,
Yes,
and I don't wanna even talk death here, okay, I don't.
right,
Because to me, if we're gonna have a pool that doesn't have guards, it's Highlands.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, number one, it's not as deep. Number two, you can see the bottom anywhere around that pool, whereas here you cannot.
okay.
So, the other question's gotta be, what if? What if there's an injury, what's our liability?
I
There
can,
is
I
a-
can reach back out to them.
There's a legal letter I can circulate that Gusty Sunseri did for the board 4 or 5 years ago, where we asked him to analyze what's our risk, right? Should we continue to have lifeguards? And he did a pretty
yeah.
thorough analysis.
There-
I mean, the no-brainer was, you should have lifeguards.
We should
Yeah.
But
Yes.
but if we don't
But-
have one.
Correct. Yeah, then all kinds of things.
Can we get a rider? Can we get a rider for that pool, swim at your own risk? And if it is, for how much,
They're
and for
saying
what?
we can do it. They've already said that we can do that. As long as it's posted where everybody can see it.
And see, the other thing is, I would not allow Highlands for renters. I'd have it purely for homeowners, renters have to come here, in my humble opinion. If we have to go that route.
Right.
You know what, John, interestingly enough, just thinking of following the conversation, there was some angst over the fact that, we had a reservation system and renters were getting in, but homeowners were not able to. Do we say first come, first served homeowners, and if there's spaces left, they go to the renters?
Oh,
Just
can we
curious.
do that? Because you keep telling me that renters have the same rights as homeowners.
I don't think I've ever said that.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. It's always been, John, you're being too tough on these people. According to our bylaws, renters have the same right as the owner of the condo or house or whatever.
Or according to our bylaws, renters have to follow the same rules
Correct.
as the owners.
Meaning the owners would inform the renters of the rules.
Yeah, which is what we ask them to do, generally.
I mean, and I'm gonna bring forward, not tonight, but I'm gonna bring forward to the fact that we only allow 5 people per household in, and if you need to have a 6 because you've got a 6th kid, you gotta get the okay from, and there's a reason why I'm saying that.
John, am I right, though, our existing swimming policy says 10,
And you saw how that got screwed after the first 2 hours of being open.
so shouldn't we amend it?
We should amend the policy.
Yes,
I think
I
we
am
should.
amending, I wanna amend the policy because you gotta think about it, we made a mistake. And I'm not saying we did it on purpose, I think it was just, we wanted to get the pool open. We had 2 sessions, we have 1,200 homeowners. You could only have what percentage of homeowners that could use the pool if you're bringing 9 other guests?
Right.
And then they figured it out, well, guess what? I can come in the morning with you, and then I'll get out in the afternoon and bring you. And that's how they scammed it from the beginning. So we gotta figure if, I mean, I hope that we don't have to go back to what we did last year. But I am just suggesting that we only have five people per homeowner. And if you need another one, fine.
Well, you know what, guys? I think we talk about it tonight. I think the more discussion we have at this meeting, the better.
I'm sorry, John.
That's all right, I was just looking.
Gonna admit, John?
Yeah, I think there was definitely some, gaming of the system last
Oh,
year.
that's unbelievable.
I tried a few times to get a reservation, and it was like, you know, family name and 10 people.
You just didn't know the right person to work with.
I didn't, you're right. But I wouldn't have gamed the system anyway.
Hey, John,
I just think we need to relook at it and just have a discussion, and
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, John, we're having a discussion, I think Dan's listening. We're having a discussion about the swimming pool.
Yes,
Can you hear
okay.
us?
Yeah,
Okay.
has the meeting started?
Well, now it will.
Okay.
Because you've joined us.
Very good.
But what we're talking about is, Megan's reporting that we're not getting a great response with regard to our solicitation for lifeguards.
Okay.
Megan, why don't you talk about what you've done?
Well, we have, sent out notification to all of the local schools requesting applicants. We've also reached out to all of our former lifeguards from previous years, and it's been posted on Indeed. I've contacted Pike Run and also Somerset Country Club and the Red Cross to see if we can try to recruit some potential lifeguards, and we've not had very good response. We only have 2 so far.
Okay.
And 2 other potentials and a third that I sent paperwork out to and have got no response from. So potentially 5 at best,
Okay.
if everybody gets back to me.
they got W-2s last year, right? So are they eligible for the $1,400 a week?
Probably.
Sure.
You're talking
The
unemployment.
unemployment.
Employment side, are they eligible for that?
I think they're temporary
Probably, yeah, they're
employees. I don't
No?
think they are. I think they're
Okay.
exempt, John.
Okay.
So
What about
we
li- what
were
about-
just having a discussion
Now, what
about
about the
what
lifeguards?
you wanted to do. If, swim at your own risk, basically, is what we're talking about right now.
Megan reached out to the insurance carrier to see what happens to our insurance if we allow people to swim without a lifeguard. We do have that coverage so long as, swim at your risk is posted everywhere. Obviously, that's a choice of last resort, but it's a choice. Dan, what were you gonna say?
I was just wondering, we do have, as John said, they got a W-2 or somehow, have we reached out to the people that were lifeguards last year? Megan, has that been a group you've been able to reach to?
Yes, we have
Okay.
contacted all, yes.
Okay,
You're still gonna need a minimum crew to set up and cover the pool at night and things like that.
Yes.
Right.
I also haven't been able to get a response from security either as to whether they'll be able to provide guards for the swimming areas.
Is Allied having a staffing problem?
I
Yeah, they
believe that
are.
they are.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Because it's better to be unemployed than work.
Pardon me, Chris?
It's better to be unemployed than work at the moment.
Yeah, there's a problem.
I mean, if things keep going the way they are, I expect the pools to be totally open by Memorial Day. It's moving fast, and unless something totally happens that, you know, all of a sudden we got our hospitals filled, they're gonna keep moving. So do we actually need that guard, that extra guard, like we did last year? Because we used the extra guard for a reason, just to make sure everybody had checked in, signed the papers, and then they could go in. We may not need that.
I'm less concerned about the security guard than I am about the lifeguards.
Yes.
Not having lifeguards.
Not having lifeguards, boy, that's,
Yes,
Big time.
yes. I agree.
and Dan and John, I mentioned prior to you guys getting on the call, several years ago, we had legal counsel for the foundation, a guy named Gusty Sunseri, did an analysis for us, a legal analysis of the risks of not having a lifeguard, et cetera. So I'll circulate that to the full board, because I think everybody ought to be on the same page as to what our legal risks are. You know, the other thing that we can do is we could certainly increase our liability coverage and our umbrella coverage, so that we have, you know, more there. I mean, that, as you buy that, it's cheap. So, until you have a claim, of course. But we want to protect our balance sheet as much as we can, so.
Hey, Bob, in a brief, very brief summary, what did that legal report or legal opinion state?
Have lifeguards, period.
Okay, okay.
Is that brief enough, Dan?
That pretty well answers that question, doesn't it?
Okay. He was unequivocal.
Do we have any that are interested?
We have two.
Okay, so the first plan would be to open this pool and not the second pool if we don't have enough lifeguards, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, boy, I hate that option.
No, I don't think that's an option.
And Bob and I agree that anyone who returns from last year could have a 25% increase from the rate that they received last year.
We're trying to make it more attractive, bring them back.
Plus,
We're gonna pay
we
for
would
their
pay
upgrade.
for their recertification,
Oh, yeah.
if they stay the year.
We usually buy.
That's either a $50-$75 charge to get recertified.
We usually buy we buy them some, attire, right, the swimming trunks and all, whatever they need. Now, Megan, you know, I remember Vicki used to do a lot of the recruiting for that. Has she said, oh, by March 15th, we have 20? How is this in comparison to prior years? Have you had
She
any?
has not mentioned.
Okay, because it is early.
It is early, yeah.
It's good that we're out in front of this, right, we're trying to recruit now, we need to
Yeah.
continue to be vigilant about it, but come in mid-April, if we don't have any, I'll be a little more worried than I am right now. But,
Yes.
Are we too, say, St. Vincent, for them to come? For $9 for it. McDonald's Street, I saw the sign, 11,
Yeah.
11.50 this time.
Megan, my suggestion would be if we think we need to bump it to be competitive,
Okay.
Chris had told me that I think Seven Springs, of course, is advertising, they want lifeguards for their pools too, and she said, we're currently higher than they are,
At 9.
which is good.
Yes.
But I have no problem bumping it. In fact, maybe we should bump it.
For $3 or $4 more dollars an hour, whatever it is, jump change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we can do that.
What's the current rate now?
9.
9? Yeah, I think you could bump that pretty easily.
Yeah, that's not that many hours in a week, times $2 or something like that.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
11?
Try it.
Okay.
Let's try it.
Yeah, let's try it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I saw a sign for sheets, like $11.50, $12
Right.
an hour, so.
Yeah.
Now, they don't get to get a
You okay
tan,
with
but
that?
I mean, you know.
Megan, did you just get, I'm not interested, or call me if COVID goes away, or was it, I'm just not interested? I was wondering whether COVID played a part.
Been radio silent. No response.
Okay, nothing, okay.
So potentially, maybe they'll get back to us and say that they are interested, hopefully.
You know, Megan, even do a follow-up letter telling them we've raised the
Yes,
starting wage
yes,
to $11 an hour. I think that will get a response.
I can do that.
So just on the subject of the swimming pool, now, I'm gonna ask the elephant question in the room. If we get to a point where things are opening up and the reservation system's not in play, are we gonna require people to have been vaccinated?
Oh, good question.
Oh, come
Now you're opening a can of worms.
I am, but if there's no reservation system, the pool's gonna be packed.
Well, but even if there is a reservation system, how does that change it? If a vaccination is a prerequisite for the pool, is it also gonna be a prerequisite for the 4th of July cookout? That's it.
I don't have an answer.
Question.
I don't have an answer, but I mean, at this point, you're hearing, you know,
Do they have to bring the little, like,
lots of
That's exactly
stories.
right. That's where, boy.
Well, that's,
I know UPMC is gonna require us to have shots every year, just like we have the flu shot. That's a given.
Yeah.
Can we as an organization?
You're hearing lots of stories at the moment about the number of people who are still saying they're not gonna get it.
Correct.
So I think it's like 40% or something at the moment have said that they won't take the vaccine.
Correct. So,
That's a tough call.
can we in fact force people to use our amenities to have it? And what's our liability? What's our legal side of things, Pat?
I'll tell you what, the answer to that is almost no one knows.
Well, all right, because
Okay.
here's where I'm gonna go with the next comment on this, thanks for bringing it up. It's not just about the pool. Let's say that we now start our kids' programs up again,
Or summer camp.
our summer camps. You gotta show me you've got vaccinations for the measles, the mumps, chickenpox, varicella, or you don't come in.
And we don't do that now.
No, we don't do that right now. So, but that's coming from safety. That is coming from safety, because it's been brought up. So however we do this, it's not just about the pool here, it's gonna have ramifications on other things within the community.
You know, it is an interesting question, because I have an office with 15 employees, and I thought, we're a small office, and, you know, am I gonna require people to be vaccinated? Can I require people to be vaccinated? I don't think I can require them, except I'm private, and I probably can say, you don't like it, go get a job.
Okay, UPMC's private, so how can UPMC require me?
UPMC is a 501c3, and they get,
That's amazing.
Benefit.
They can make $5 billion.
I know.
We gotta figure something out here, Bob. I'm sorry, we do.
but they have other benefits, so they're definitely not able to.
I don't think we're not gonna answer this tonight.
No, but we need to have it, though, Chris.
But I'm
We
bringing
do
it
need to
up
have it.
because for me,
I know you're new at this, but please don't ask questions we don't have answers.
that's what I've been doing wrong all of these years.
And just so you know, that's strike one, you have exactly
I was just gonna say.
2 more strikes and you won't be here at the meeting.
Clearly, you're in trouble.
Oh, brilliant.
That's exactly right.
I'll
No,
leave
but
it
we do need to talk about it, because safety's gonna come to the board about what ifs, guys. There are clearly parents that do not wanna have their kids coming to kids' events if we can't prove that everybody else has had their vaccinations.
You know what, Megan, I'm gonna pass the ball here. I think we need to find out what everybody else is doing. I think let's start there. Okay, why don't we finish your list?
Okay,
So-
And then
sorry,
we'll
Megan.
jump back onto our agenda.
that's okay.
We're teasing.
I'm gonna try to be quick. I have more good news. I'm so sorry.
Good news?
No.
She's being sarcastic.
I'm being sarcastic, yes. Dependable, has notified us that they are going out of business,
Oh,
effective,
That's okay.
immediately.
That hardly surprises me, given.
Their contract ran through 22,
oh.
so we had another year left
Yeah, one more year.
with them.
I was gonna come to the board anyway and not allow them on the mountain until we had license for all their drivers, and we haven't gotten them. We've requested them for the last 3 months.
Oh,
The condition of their
so
vehicles and
I
everything
was
else.
coming to the board anyway. I don't want them on the mountain unless they can give us license plates, they can give us copies of the driver's license, which we'll be glad to give back at the end of the season, but they would not get stuff back to Chris. This was before you joined, so I'm not
Yeah.
stepping on toes.
No. Well,
so we need
regardless,
to get
they're gone.
another PO.
Okay,
So, we talked, talking about releasing an RFP for the services moving forward, the possibility of maybe doing some things in-house, looking at maybe some different options that might make the contract more attractive to bidders. It was my understanding that only one person bid it last time, and it was them, so.
right. And it's not the plowing the issue. The plowing is not the
It's the
issue.
shoveling.
It is
Shoveling, yes.
Shoveling.
Yes,
Gotta remember that. We can get people to plow.
yes.
We can hire them on a part-time basis. It's the shoveling that's gonna be the issue.
And the
Yeah.
shoveling is, think about it, is equal to JML and their labor problem with mowing, and it's the same worker type, and they're scarce. They're scarce.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll just give you a little tidbit here. I'm in process of talking to Barry Thomas, Lincoln Fells. for stuff down at my house. And Barry's already said he doesn't know how much longer Lichtenfeld is gonna be in business. Because, well, wait, because number one, all the principals are getting old and they're starting to retire. And he said the biggest issue right now is, I can't get workers.
Yes, wow. Okay, so putting this in motion, we're gonna finalize an RFP, but do we have to figure out what the division of work is gonna be?
I think we've got to look at it being a little more creative. I mean, do we
Yeah.
bring in temporary labour that's our own labour for the season, that
For the shoveling.
does the shoveling, you know, pay what it takes.
I suggested to Megan that we put it on the agenda for the next finance committee meeting and have maybe kind of a brainstorming session, you know, what are the possibilities, right? What can we do?
Right, well, does Somerset have like a labor ready
That's a good question.
office?
They
You
should.
know,
Yeah.
What does,
Yeah, they do.
what does JML do in the winter? Do they shut?
They snowplow. I don't know if they shovel, but they do, because they had originally thought they would bid on snow removal the first year they were up here, and then they said, you know what, guys, we think we're stretched a little too thin. We just got the landscaping, we're just figuring that out.
Yeah.
My understanding is they declined to bid that first year.
that's
Well, the other issue, and I don't wanna be racist here, so please don't take it that way, what happens to the J1 visas at the end of the summer? Where do they go? They stick around or they go back?
they typically go back.
Right, so, you know, I understand why JML wouldn't
Right.
bid because,
They don't have the people.
They get a lot of their workforce on March first and April first, right, if I remember correctly.
In anticipation of the finance meeting though, just because we don't wanna lose time on this, maybe we can reach out and see what temporary part-time labor would cost. You know, a lot of my municipalities do exactly that. They hire 18 to 21-year-olds or kids, you know, summering in between college, and they work all summer long. And, you know, yep.
that sounds really great when it's 80 degrees
But
outside,
it's,
okay?
yeah.
When it's 18 below zero and you can't see 2 inches in front of you,
But we could hire some, you know, 18-year-olds from.
We could go to Alaska and see if we can get them to come down here from Eskimos and, you know,
But I think
live in warmer weather.
Chris brought up an interesting point, he said, you know, maybe we need to be a little more creative, right?
Well, yeah.
Can we identify, are there, you know, 5 to 8 guys in the county that are contractors that don't work in the winter,
Right.
right? And maybe, right, we put them on a stipend, okay, so we pay them $1,000 a month, right? So that they're at the ready, right, when we need them, they're here, right?
And then it's X dollars an hour when they work.
Yeah, so I mean, just trying to get creative, right, throw stuff out, I mean, those are the kinds of things that might help us. I have to believe that Somerset County probably has a labor pool that goes on unemployment in the winter months, that would be my guess.
Makes sense, makes sense. Okay, what other good news?
I'm not sure how much.
I feel the love in this room.
Just so everyone is aware, and I'm sure you've been able to see that maintenance was out
Yeah.
last week with the chipper, and they were working hard on the branch and limb removal. And JML has also been on site this week, so they have already started their.
There's a couple rumors of some of the guys that are with us that said, I wanna go back and plow. I haven't been this damn sore in 6 months.
Believe it, there's a lot of trees around.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it looks good.
It looks
A lot of big stuff is gone.
they've done a good job.
They have.
Okay.
I have been in contact with Linda Lackey in regard to the spring cleanup that's going to be scheduled for April 10th. I reached out to Waste Management. It's my understanding in the past they've donated a dumpster and, have come and emptied it for us. They said they would be more than happy to do that again this year, but they would have to charge us for the disposal. And they said the tonnage rate is $40.11 a ton. Last year they did 2.93 tons from the container. So they're guesstimating it would be around $120 depending on the weight. That of course,
You get rid of what we, that's nothing.
that is,
That's
Okay.
great.
so we're okay with that.
Yeah.
And I will get back in touch with them and let them know that yes, we will take the dumpster.
Now, if they suddenly find 20 tons this year, it'll be,
Well, you know what? You bring up a good point.
there'll be,
There-
there'll be a lot more.
there's
It would be
chance-
worth it.
Yes, it would be. There's a good chance we'll have a lot more than just 2,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Still
Now,
worth
what
it.
about our paints and our stuff like that? That's all included in that? or is that separate?
Maintenance takes care of that. The paints and the electronics, yes. Brian and I have already discussed it.
Okay.
He said they'll be good for the tenth.
Okay.
Oh, that'll be April tenth as well.
That'll be,
So we really need to get that, was it in this week's update?
I think it was.
Was it?
It was.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
and
you're
further
right.
details to follow, because
Okay.
we didn't have everything yet.
Okay, great.
Yes. Okay, I have two requests here. One is from the Bocce Club, permission to construct a second bocce court adjacent to the current one. Do this with a combination of volunteers and maintenance staff, guesstimating approximately $1,000 to build.
I have a comment to make.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm in favor of it, but please let me do some things down there from parking,
Okay,
all right, before, and let me report back. I'm all in favor of Bill, so, but that's one of the places I wanna put additional parking for the pool.
okay,
So just let me do my thing over the next week.
okay. So I will get back to them and let them know.
Is
We're
that?
John?
gonna hold off for
John?
That's,
Go!
Also take into consideration about all the compactor and the dumpsters. Make sure we got enough space for them too. Because they sit right in front of those bocce courts.
If,
Should be good.
are the, who's, somebody gonna stake the bocce courts out so you can see where they are, John? Or are you gonna stake so where they can see where they're not allowed to be, or?
No, I'm not doing anything. I'm just, there's certain areas down here in front going down High Top where I think we can put additional spaces for not a lot of money. I just wanna see what I'm thinking correlates with what the other bocce court is, that's all.
Okay, there's gotta be a couple trees, there's gotta be a couple trees in the way there, I'm sure that are.
They're only small branches, Dan.
Got it. For $1,000, it
Okay,
can't be
thank you.
very big. Okay,
okay.
Same group is also requesting, permission to build a set of horseshoe pits in that area as well, expecting the cost to be between $500 and $750.
Is there room?
Oh, we have all the room you want, Pat. I mean, we do. It's just,
Robin and I walked it today.
Okay.
We've got plenty of room, won't ruin your parking.
I think that'd be really popular,
Yeah, I do
actually.
too.
I agree. Just do it. Actually, I want it $2,000 instead of $1,750. You give us $2,000, I'll be happy.
You putting in a Lexus horseshoe pit over there.
That's all.
Okay. Just not used to having an executive director with a list.
I know. You come to us with like ideas.
I tried to keep it short. I have some other things, but they fall in line with your things.
can I ask Bill a question?
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Brian's thoughts about putting a dumpster down at Highland Center? Still looking at that or no?
Why,
I thought we were gonna discuss it. All right, we'll discuss it
No,
now.
here's my question, because if you're thinking about doing that, that means people getting access to the tennis courts and pickleball courts. I would suggest they not go that way, that if we have them walk up around and come in from Highland Drive along this side of the tennis court to go in.
Well, if we decide to put the compactor in, so we could put a 20 or 30 yard dumpster where the recycle is now. It would take up that space. And the compactor has to be longer anyways. I have enough space to put the compactor next to the dumpster. All right? We'll discuss with the lab and all this stuff, okay? I think you should have in your package what we save a year,
It's in there.
okay? It's in there.
okay.
So then I'd like from 7 o'clock to 7 at night, it would be open, it would be locked overnight. Put a gate on it. But we have plenty of room to do, even with your parking, we're good.
Oh, I think, Bill, I think I'm gonna be okay. It's just, I wanna see how far I can go down and not, just give me a weekend. I'll have,
You'll be fine. I'll walk this through with you too.
okay,
But I think instead of taking up space down at the Highlands building, and people coming over there, let them have one-stop shopping at one place. 'cause I saw a futon.
Oh,
not
last
the
Sunday when I was leaving, I was strained.
And
I did talk to those guys on Monday morning.
instead of having a gate down there, a dumpster down there, then people had to walk around. Just don't disturb that area down the Highlands. We have room up here.
Yeah, but then it allows more parking spaces in front of the Highland maintenance shed that we can paint off so that people come up, we'll have places to park.
That's a good idea. Yes, especially on the weekends.
Yeah.
Right.
There wasn't what I was planning to talk about, but just to clarify, 'cause we're getting a lot of complaints about garbage and about the bins overflowing. So I thought what we had talked about last time was adding additional bins, either here or in some other locations, that the blinds were big enough to accommodate more.
Waste management was supposed to come up for an audit this week. I don't know if they did,
I haven't heard anything.
they did not contact me, see what they could do in the whole community. So they were gonna do the audit of all the dumpsters, all the blinds, and maybe talk about putting a 6-yard or an 8-yarder in the blinds, instead of these two little 2-yarders. And also the trucks will be able to go in with the claws, pull it out, and dump it. It'd be a lot faster for them. And they were supposed to come up this week.
With the larger receptacle, we might be able to still maintain the once-a-week collection.
Yes.
Yes, so we can
Isn't
work.
that the idea? 'Cause right now, once a week doesn't seem to be doing it.
Yes, there'll be no charge to us for the bigger dumpster.
Again, I would say to you that if everything was being used equally, that's correct, but if everything's not being used equally, and we gotta figure out some way how to use that. I mean, I wasn't being flip when I said about having something either on the website or an app that shows what areas are open for garbage. I mean, I'm being very serious.
I think it's a good idea. I really do, to designate, I mean, this is a hot button issue, and I think they need information. So if that's the way we wanna get it out, let's get it out that way. But we need our plan. We need a plan first.
I wanted to communicate it 2 weeks ago, okay, was not in the updates, okay, what we were planning on doing. So it would get into people's heads to plan on this. We have to do an update every week on the garbage. And if we get the compactor and the dumpster back here, it's a good beginning, okay? Is it gonna be a good solution? It's better than what we have.
But the compactor is gonna be for the maintenance staff.
No, it's gonna be for homeowners. It's gonna
But the
be-
maintenance will run it.
Maintenance will run it.
And as I understand it, we're proposing the compactor would be for recycling only.
Only,
Recycling.
yeah. No, so we're not expecting that when I bring my refrigerator box up here,
You'll throw it right in the compactor.
You won't have to tear it down.
You don't have to tear it down.
the compactor is its own receptacle,
Yes.
and you throw it in, and you push a button?
No, you don't touch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maintenance will.
I
do
like
it.
that.
Camera will see if you're trying to push the button.
Okay, so when they're on, it will be locked.
There's a key for it, maintenance will have it, maybe they'll have to do it twice a day, maybe once a day.
Who knows?
Okay,
During the week, what? Probably not. You know, once a day.
okay.
During the weekends, guess what? And that's where we have to have somebody here.
Okay,
Then if they use a 30-yard dumpster for everything, I don't care, okay? These are throwing it into the dumpster. Their toilets, we'll have to communicate that all the time.
okay. But we're not ready to communicate that until are we gonna do it next week?
I wanted to do it 2 weeks ago, and it was never done. I mean, however you wanna
At
write it.
least last week.
So Bill, are you suggesting we like get something out to the homeowners that, hey, we're looking at this, right? Here are the options we're considering, we're on it, right? So watch this
yeah.
space, right,
Well,
for
yeah.
future analysis.
But you know what, Bill, tonight, why don't you discuss it? Guys, we can't discuss everything in our little meetings. We need to let them know that we're discussing it. And I think this is a perfect issue, because everybody's concerned about it.
Yeah, somebody was on Facebook, I was gonna call him, and tell him.
Though, even in passing, like if I'm walking, I'll get a garbage comment. So, and I have to, put my letter out. The only comments on my letter were but she didn't mention the garbage.
Yeah, I saw it.
You know,
Yeah, but see,
I didn't have a solution, so
putting a grinder, not a grinder, but a compactor up there, that's also a threat to the people on Facebook that are pain in the asses, because, man, I'm compacting how much? Somebody disappears from the mountain, I don't know what the hell happened.
So I'm waiting for you
to come in with a fedora, Bob.
Okay, guys,
button.
you know what, we gotta get
All
to
right.
this agenda.
6:30.
Okay,
5:30.
6:30.
We're gonna be flying.
Okay, number one is first services contract. 90 days is April 1st. We've talked about this previously. We've got to decide, here's what I didn't want to do. Certainly we could have an executive session, just make this decision and then vote on it electronically. But this is an important decision, and I think we should make it at the public meeting, if at all possible. So, we need to make a decision. Are we going to terminate our contract with First Service effective June 30th? Or are we going to continue with them in some capacity going forward? And right now, if you'll recall, they are not providing management services. They are providing, for lack of a better definition, accounting services and payroll services. And for that, we pay $60,000.
Everything we've done so far is moving towards self-governance with what we're doing. I'm all in favor, for lots of reasons. You better hold me to that, because one of the reasons we're doing this is because of its strong leadership.
Pressure.
Okay? I guess my question comes down to you. Where do you feel with the money side of things? If you're telling me that you're okay with TOPS 1, that you're okay with running that, you're okay with you pulling back and putting our next hire to run this day to day, and you tell me that you're comfortable, then I will vote in favor of moving forward for self-management.
So Bob, why don't you speak to the accounting manager, you and Megan?
Yeah, so there's been a couple things going on there, and I did find a little quick one page for everybody as well. Dan and John, I will send this to you post-meeting, sorry. It's just a little one-page summary on the accounting system, so I think we need one more. So, John Eddy is correct. You know, in order for this to work, right, a big linchpin in this reorganization is, of course, that we have our own accounting function, right? So, we did look at, as I think I've mentioned in previous meetings, we've looked at 3 different software systems. So it was myself, John Sabo, and Chris Nicholson. Dave Fiola sat in on a couple of those meetings also. We concluded that we thought this product called TOPS 1, which comes from a company called TopSoft, seems to be the best software. There was a product called Caliber. From an accounting perspective, I actually thought it was too complex. I thought it was more geared towards really large communities. And then there was one other product we looked at, the name escapes me at the moment, but it was geared more towards apartment buildings. Okay, so it was really geared towards that. So TOPS is all about HOAs, that's what it's set up for. It has all the features that I have listed here, so it'll do all the things that we currently have and more. Okay, when I say currently have, I mean through First Service, but it'll do it much better, all right? And we'll be more in charge of our own data, et cetera. The annual cost for TOPS works out to be about $15,000 a year. So it's not terribly expensive. It's cloud-based, right? So it's backed up, automatic updates, et cetera. So those are all positive things. In order to do this, we need an accounting manager. So Chris and Megan and I have been interviewing candidates. We had 39 or 40 people apply. We narrowed it down to 6 or 7. We've interviewed 6. We've narrowed it down to 2. We have second interviews and kind of a little problem we're going to give them. That's next Thursday night. So our hope would be, right after that, to be able to extend an offer. And guys, whether we stay with First Service for accounting or put in our new accounting system, we need an accounting manager. I mean, I've been doing probably more than I should be doing as a volunteer. And if we think about, okay, if I'm not on the board, we need expertise here, right? We need to. Part of the reorganization plan was to increase the professionalism of the staff, right? New ED, new accounting manager, new assistant executive director that would help us position the organization going forward. right? So if we do all those things, right, I think we're preparing ourselves to go forward. I think the benefits of going in-house outweigh the benefits of staying with this particular management company. And we're not aware of any other management companies that are gonna step in and fill the void. So it's probably time to make a change.
Okay. Bill?
Change.
James? Chris?
You know, I was concerned, I did some
Yes,
research,
you
got back to you, with what we have today, I think the two people we've got, I think that either one could be a really strong accounting
That's great.
manager. The software is gonna be good as long as we've talked about, we don't take on things we shouldn't take on, so we find a way to do payroll and the HR piece. Get rid of them, let's move on.
Okay. Dan?
Based on what I've learned in the last 3 months, I guess, I was very skeptical when this first started. For moving on, I vote to move on, but I guess, Bob, my biggest concern is once we notify first that we're not going to re-up their contract in 90 days, I mean, what kind of strings, what do we, I mean, how do we know we're going to get data that's usable, that's going to migrate into our system, or are we just going to get a bunch of, for lack of a better word, crap dumped on us that we're going to have to try to sort through? Is there money that we owe first that we can hold in abeyance until this peaceful transition takes place and we get everything migrated and it looks like it's going to work? I mean, that's a big question in my mind, is migration of information.
Yeah, and that's a valid question, and I can tell, two things I can tell you. One, obviously, I mean, if I saw their level of cooperation starting to go downhill, I would withhold the monthly management fee in a heartbeat, and I've done it before. You know, my name's on a couple posters there at First Service, so they're not a big fan of me, so that's number one. Number two, TOPS has a transition person that would be on our team who used to work for First Service. So that's really to our advantage, right? So they kind of know the file layout. And included in the conversion fee is a $900 fee. They'll get a download of our files from First Service. They'll upload it into our system for TOPS. So that's the beauty of it, right? So instead of having 1,100 names and addresses and detail records and a general ledger that we have to go hand enter, guess what? They're going to get a file. They're going to upload it, populate it into TOPS. Now, we'll test it, right? We're going to check it. And Dan, I have the same concerns you do. You know, I want to make sure that we're getting good data. You've heard the old acronym, right? GIGO, garbage in, garbage out, right? Well, if we get good data, it'll transfer over smoothly. And you know what, Dan, I don't think they're going to be difficult. I mean, probably for them, they're probably like good riddance. And their contract actually does have language in it that they have to cooperate, they have to provide us with that information.
There's even a time period, I think
Yeah.
it's 45 days.
Yeah, so, it says even after the end of the contract, they have to cooperate for 45 days to assist us with any kind of tax return requests, information requests, et cetera.
Well, that makes me feel more comfortable, but Bob, you know, you've done this before. I can tell by the way you've been talking about it for the last several months or so, but there's cooperation and then there's cooperation. That's my biggest concern. You know, they're gonna meet the four corners of the document, but not go an inch beyond that. That's my only concern. If you're comfortable with that, or not trying to get you to commit to it, but if you're comfortable with that and we have a implementation person who has worked there that's gonna hold our hand till we get through the process, then I feel much more comfortable about it than before.
Yeah, the TOPS approach is literally a week-by-week plan, where you do something week 1, you do something week 2, you do something week 3, and they're guiding you through the process. And the other nice thing here is too, that literally our accounting manager, when they come on board, that's their job for 2 months.
Yeah.
Right, because we're still under the First Service umbrella, so they're gonna be learning the accounting up here, but they're gonna be focused on the system. And like I think I said at a previous meeting, you know, I'll donate a day a month, May and June, to kind of make sure this happens, right? So I'll be on site to kind of make sure this conversion happens.
Okay.
John Dickens? John? What do you think?
Yes, I would be for it, only with the caveat that, we need to have a hybrid in place before July 1st for payroll and HR.
Yeah, so the plan, guys, would be to outsource payroll. We currently, through First Service, we use ADP through them. So my plan would be to contact ADP and some other payroll service providers.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and then same thing, John, on the HR front, and some of, ADP even has an HR
They
feature.
usually do, yeah, they do.
Right,
Yeah,
so
once-
I agree completely.
my caveat is that we need to have that in place before July first.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
In
Otherwise-
fact, John,
Otherwise, I
John,
think
I
it's a
was
good
gonna
idea.
in fact, to your point, John, one of the things that we probably need a little task force of the board to do is kind of outline what we want our personnel policies to be, because we're gonna have to do that, right? And then get somebody to help us format it correctly.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to be concerned about current FSR employees?
No, in terms of
Can they mess with them?
not, well, what they can't do is hold them to the non-compete. And there will, remember,
That's what I'm asking, Pat. I don't know I don't know if Chris, Dan, or John know that, so.
well, you know, we can talk about it, when Chris gets back. But basically, we had entered into this discussion with them previously, and if we kept them through this June 30th, they agreed to waive a $20,000 termination fee, I believe that was, and also agreed to release the employees from their non-compete. And so, and Megan was under that same, those same terms. And so, they're well aware of what the plan is. They are not absolutely certain at this point that we're gonna terminate.
Right.
So, Dan, to your point, do I think it's gonna be, you know, all rosy until, you know, June 30th? I don't. I think they'll do what they have to do, and then that'll be it.
Is the non,
okay,
is,
then
is the waiver of the non-compete, is that in writing somewhere? Is that?
Yes.
It is,
Yes.
okay, okay, good, okay, all right. That's the important part in my point. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anybody have anything else on that? That is, I believe, the last item on the agenda. Then let's go to the, SRC2 building compliance issue. John Dickinson had asked to add this. I should have added it anyway. So John, do you want to talk about that?
Yes, and talking with some folks, they felt that we should have a revisit before about what our path forward is based on the compliance issue now becoming a non-issue. So I just wanted a general discussion on that to see if anybody's mind has changed. And then if it has, I would offer a different alternate that I think would work also. So just a general discussion, and then I'll offer that other alternate.
Well, I think let's hear your alternate.
Okay, the alternate that came to my mind is that we would build just the pavilion. We would build it 70 feet long and 30 feet wide. We would put the outdoor showers on and have our lighting. That would reduce our costs, investment costs this year, probably under the 250 for sure. And then if we have a favorable response from the community, we would come and add the 2 wings on next year, which would be the snack shack and boiler room, and then the other would be the bathroom side. So that's just a next alternative. So I think you could get Morton to just build a 70 by 30 foot pavilion, knowing that he's going to come back in a year and add the 2 wings on. And do that if people were concerned about the impact of cost and how the Hidden Valley would, the people on Hidden Valley would react to it. So that's just an alternate to slow down the process of expenditure.
Plus, we're in a predicament, we were selling this project because we were out of compliance. So for 3 years, I asked for paperwork from Second Springs, remember, and nothing. Now we know we're in compliance. We always have been in compliance. So we're selling a falsehood to the community, that's bad.
Well, you know what, Bill, I think you're right, but I have to tell you, if you look at what had been done prior to, obviously last year, it was a different story. I thought we were out of compliance. That was the information that had been provided. But frankly, I don't want to proceed as we were proceeding. I think, either have no snack shack, no grill, or you either do it right or don't do it. I mean, that's where I'm coming from. We fall into the bathing code. The bathing code requires the outdoor showers. We gotta have the outdoor showers. And we gotta have bathrooms where a woman who comes in a bikini doesn't meet a guy in a suit coming in that door. I mean, this is just not a good setup.
Well,
And the guy in the suit may think that's great, but you know what I'm saying. So there's water all over the floor.
comment?
Holy hell! Absolutely.
Or it might be the other way around, you know?
But, so, you know, and I know this is a whole lot, and we can talk about this after the meeting, but, and maybe we should. At the last executive session, we decided that I would ask the 2021 surveyors to eliminate that last question, question 14. After all of this discussion, I'm gonna bring that up again. I didn't like their question, and I thought, was it the question I didn't like? Was it the answer that I was concerned about? Or was it just the wrong question? And maybe one question doesn't cover it. And so I think what we ought to consider, and John Dickinson, you brought this up at the last meeting, and you said, you know, we've already decided to do this, but yet we keep finding a reason to tweak it, or to change it, and to not move forward.
No, currently,
Maybe-
right now, we're proceeding with what we agreed to in the last meeting until and then we vote on it when the costs come in. If it falls within the 500,000, then if the finance committee approves it, we proceed on. But until that vote, we just are okay to go get the drawings adjusted and go out for RFQs for quotes, and then come back to the board with the total value of what the building will be. We've already determined what the building will be. I was just offering this second alternative